What's up with you, audience? This is your boy GQ The Truth coming to you with the podcast, The Many Misconceptions of Masculinity. The title says it all. Let's be honest, none of us have it figured out. So, this is a podcast dedicated to the upbuilding of men so we can all figure out masculinity, together. Basically, I'm creating this podcast because I care. Obviously, I am a man, so I care about the well being of mankind. And I want us to be stronger husbands, better fathers, more present in society, you know, because I feel like in a household, if a man is present, I feel like that the household will be even stronger because we're the leaders. We're supposed to be the strength of the households. And, basically, our women are having to channel masculine behaviors and we wonder why as men we can't lead because we don't know how. So at the end of the day, I feel like it starts from young. So I want to talk to a lot of the younger audience out there who lack that leadership, that man in the household to help them become better, stronger men who teaches them things about themselves that they don't know. I'm a strong advocate for mental health awareness and emotional intelligence in being a man. And I feel like these are things that are not talked about enough in manhood. So I feel like as men, we have to do our part in helping the young people grow to be stronger, better men. It's our responsibility, it's our duty. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Since this is the introduction of the podcast, I'm not having anyone on, but normally I will be having guests on to talk about their lives and their journey with manhood and struggles that they deal with and just tell you stories. And I'll be having men who went to prison, guys who went, who is in different fields, who just experienced different things on this journey called manhood. And like I say, it's a constant battle, you know. So the title of this first episode will be called Purpose because this is me explaining my purpose and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And like I said, I'm very passionate about it, and it is something that I feel like is needed in culture. So, basically a little bit about myself. I had humble beginnings. I will say that humble beginnings. I when I was coming up, I was taught that men shouldn't can't show emotion because you know we don't have the luxury, and especially being a black man in society, it's just like the culture, it's just like the whole narrative out there is that men can't show emotion. We can't be emotionally intelligent. We can't identify triggers and things of that nature because it makes us weak. But in all actuality, it's quite the opposite. In my adult life, meeting my person, she actually kind of pointed me in the right direction. I learned that, hey, I could show emotion, that I could be vulnerable, and I could identify my triggers because if I knew these things, therefore, I'm a much stronger man and more aware. And basically the thing is that as men, we have kind of made it where we just internalize everything because we feel like we can't talk about it. We can't talk about home at work. We can't talk about work at home. And then it's just like there's no release. So that is why I advocate for mental health awareness. Like there's nothing wrong with speaking with somebody about your emotions, about what you're dealing with on a regular, because that will make it where you are able to identify when you're being triggered. Things that bother you, you can speak about them clearly and easier. And as people who are flawed, who have things that we deal with on a regular, excuse me, we have to be advocates for mental health awareness for these kids because they deal with a lot of things that older generations we didn't have to deal with. When I was coming up, I didn't have to worry about social media. I didn't have to worry about cyberbullying and things of that nature. And I didn't have to worry about all these different titles that they have for, you know, different choices in life that they make, and it's like basically It's like these kids need love and they need understanding and they need support. And I feel like in the prison system, I feel like a lot of these young men feel like they're thrown away. And I feel like they need that guidance, somebody to care about them a little bit. Because you'd be surprised that if you actually just care about them a little bit, how far that will go. Just to take time out to talk to a young man. If you see him out there doing something wrong, hey, back in my day, if an older generation saw you doing something wrong, they would call you to the side and they would talk to you about it. Then they would alert your parents about it. Then, yeah, you got double the thrash, but not abuse. It was more of love because they wanted you to be better and they wanted you to know that what you were doing was wrong. And they wanted you to, they wanted to hold you accountable. And basically, we have to get back to that. We have to get back to being more present in our kids' lives, fathers. We have to. We can't let excuses like, oh, I don't deal with a mother, make your child suffer because the mother you don't get along with. That's not her fault. That's not the child's fault. It's your fault because you allowed to stop you from being in your child's life. And sometimes things happen. And I know, sometimes you have women out there who just do things out of spite to stop you from doing it. But your children need you. Because think about it. If a man is present in the household, even with women, the children, it's like the girls, they learn how a man is supposed to treat them by how he treats their mother. And as men, children, of course, we learn how to be men from other men because women cannot teach us how to be men. And there's no bash on women. They're doing the best they can to try to hold down the household, and that's a blessing to us. There's no bashing on women at all. It's actually quite the opposite. Women are having to do things that we are supposed to be doing as leaders. They're having to raise our man children up to be men, and they don't know how because they've never been men. And, I've talked to female friends of mine about the same topic, and they agree 100%. And they're like, but, we're all they got. And I'm like, wow. And I'm like, that's a narrative that we have to shake as men. We have to start being more present in our kids' lives. But in this world, on the contrary, we do have to work to support because now they have this thing called child support that, make it where it's difficult to really be present in your child's life because you're so busy trying to work to provide for that child. And sometimes, most of the time, a lot of times, you providing for that woman's life too as well. Because in some cases, the child does not even see the money that they have coming in. It doesn't go towards the child. And then you're expected to do things like pay for the child's insurance, and things of that nature. And it's a narrative that's out there that's really hurting our guys as men. It's like making them wear, man, I don't want to be a father because I'm already paying money. But money doesn't make you a father. Money doesn't make you a great father because you pay money to take care of your children. Being there, teaching that child how to be a man, teaching them, hey, don't make the mistakes I made. Be able to identify a woman. Pay attention to the signs of who a woman is. She will show you who she is when you choose it. Because ultimately, we choose the women that we deal with. We choose them, and then at the same time, we choose how we come at them. We don't have to be disrespectful, but as men, we've come to the flawed behavior of worshiping our women instead of treating them as blessings. But we worship God because it should be in this order. It should be God, you, and then your wife. Because if you don't know how to look, if you don't know God, then you don't know anything about love. And if you don't know love and you don't love yourself, how can you love someone else? So at the end of the day, we have to choose ourselves as men. First, we have to work on self. We have to get ourselves right. Sometimes a season of loneliness is not really loneliness. It's just God's time to work on you, to make you the type of man that you need to be able to be a leader for your household. So as men, it's no bash on men or women. It's just we all flawed beings just trying to make it in this world the best we can. And the truth is, in society, we as men have to know that God wants us to be strong and wants us to lead and wants us to step into our power. But society, a lot of times, wants to take away our power because really they don't understand who they are. Because as men, we have an obligation to lead this world. And as followers of God, we have an obligation to be lights in this world, to lead this world towards God. It ain't our job to make them believe. It's our job to plant the seed and allow God to do the growing in their lives. So at the end of the day, we have to take back our future, and that's our kids. And we have to stop them from this flawed behavior that they got to be gangsters, they got to be tough to prove that they're men. No, you don't got to be that. All you got to be is what God created you to be, a strong, proud man, who has the power of God inside him and has the ability to speak life into things. Sometimes your words can determine your future by how you carry yourself, how you speak. And then it's like, a lot of narrative that's out there now is that women that are strong, who have their crap together, so to say, as people say, they have their stuff together, they don't need a man. That's so flawed. That's just so wrong. A woman that has her stuff together needs a man more than anything because they want that masculinity in their life. They don't want to have to channel that masculine behavior. But they have no choice because if they don't have anybody around, they can't just sit around and just wait on you. They have to get up and do what they got to do. We're in an economy now where there ain't no just, we take care of the bills and that's it. Now in this economy, you need a 2-income household to make it and to live comfortable in this world. So that means we need each other. So at the end of the day, we have to learn to be stronger, better people for each other. We got to stop calling each other these racial slurs. Oh, I'm a real ass nigga. I'm a real nigga. You ain't no nigga. You calling yourselves ignorant. And then for women, I'm a badass B. You ain't no B. Why are we calling ourselves animals and ignorant and things of that nature? We got to get back to being men and women. And we have to learn to be who we were meant to be. We got to step into our power and start supporting each other and being there for each other the way we were meant to be there. It's not about games. It's not about tricks. It's not about any of that. It's about keeping God first and following God as men. And then our wives will be submissive to us if we're submissive to God. Because if we're submissive to God, we will be doing what we need to for our women, and we'll treat them the way they deserve to be treated, and they'll treat us the way we deserve to be treated. We're not going to be perfect. We're going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. But we got to have a spirit of forgiveness. We have to look past our flaws and be able to coexist together. I'm not saying we'll ever be perfect. I'm not saying that at all. I'm a flawed being sitting here before you, just talking about some of the things that I deal with as a man, and I know other men deal with because I've talked to guys about it. And I've talked to some guys and they feel like we can't be safe enough to be vulnerable in our own home. We can't even speak about what we worry about and what we deal with as men because that's looked at as weak. Sometimes our women will look at it as, we acting like a female because we cry and we show emotion, or we say, man, I'm overwhelmed by this. This is not right. I can't deal with this no more. But that's wrong. It took my significant other, who is amazing, by the way, to bring it to my attention that I dealt with things that she could not help me with anymore. And at the same time, she was right, because I dealt with triggers that I didn't even know I had, that I had never even dealt with. There were things that I buried, I internalized it, I thought I was dealing with it, but I wasn't. It took me speaking with a professional to learn that, hey, I allow people to make withdrawals, and it depletes me because of that. And I can't pour into myself. Nobody pours into me, but I'm always pouring into somebody else. And it's such a thing as that, because it's like so many of us do it and we think, oh yeah, I'm in a ministry, I help people. But at some point you have to pour into yourself. You have to allow yourself to grow and to flourish, because if you never pour into yourself and you keep letting people make withdrawals, it's like my therapist used this analogy. He used this, and it was a good analogy. He was like, it's like a car. If you drive it, You know, you keep gas in it, it'll keep going. But if you keep taking gas out of it and you never put any in, it's going to break down. The same with us as people. We have to learn to pour into ourselves, do things for ourselves to bring us joy, do things to help build us up and to keep our spirits high. You know, I was talking to a young man the other day, some young men the other day, and I was telling them, I said, when you walk into a room, you should never let a woman or anybody look down on you. No matter what you've done in life, you should always keep your head held high and realize that you were made by God. You are a blessing to somebody in their life. You can be more than what you are. Just because you made mistakes don't mean that you gotta give people, the world has given up on you. God has given up on you. God has not given up on you ever. He loves you. He wants you to be your best self. He wants you to channel that masculinity that's inside of you, that can lead, that can speak life into things, that can do things that you didn't even know you had the ability to do. You know, I'm a prime example. This ministry, this is something that I'm passionate about. This is my purpose, I feel, to spread the word, to spread light into this world that's full of darkness. And I'm not a public speaker, by the way. I just have a passion for helping people and speaking life into things and you know, seeing good things happen to people. I have a passion for that because I feel like we have to help each other in this world. We have to show each other the love of God. And if we don't show each other the love of God, we are lost. The enemy got us because we're in a spiritual warfare right now, people. We need God and we need the love of God shown daily. And at the end of the day, we have to know as men, we have a responsibility to our families, to this world, most importantly to God and to ourselves, to work hard at being the best beings that we can be for God. We'll never be perfect. Let's just put that out there. Everybody makes mistakes. I mean, I don't care if you went to prison. I don't care if you're in prison. I don't care if something happens to you, you know, where you know, oh man, this was so wrong. I did something so bad. But that's the amazing thing about God. He forgives you for everything that you do wrong. But you got to repent and you got to do better. You got to strive for greatness because it's inside of you. And if you strive for greatness, I promise you, and you keep God first and you do the work, because the Bible does say faith without works is dead. And what it means is you can have all the faith in the world. God will open that door for you. But if you don't make the journey to the door to walk through it, you'll never get there. Because God wants you to go through the journey. The journey is the blessing in itself because it helps you remain humble and it helps you remember how you got to that destination. Because if you just got to the destination and you never went through the journey, you would never know what it took to get there. Therefore, if you ever left that destination, you wouldn't know how to get back there. So, you know, we got to stop giving people fish and we got to start teaching them how to fish. We got to start teaching them how to be stronger, better people. Our women, they need us more than ever now. They're being attacked. You know, the worst thing that our women could have ever received was welfare. Things to replace the man in there. Oh, your man ain't in the house. We gonna give you this if he ain't in there. And then it became a learned behavior because over time, we as men have just learned to accept the status quo. And that's just not cool. We just cannot accept that anymore. The time for accepting mediocrity is over. The time to be exceptional is now. Because we're extraordinary. We're created by God. We have the ability to lead. We have the ability to do things we never thought we could do. A man should never tell himself, I can't do it. Because you know why? Because you can. God made you to do it. He created you to be who you are. And you're not being who you are, then you're doing yourself a disservice and you're doing God a disservice. So at the end of the day, I just challenge all men to really realize that we have the ability to do things we never knew we could do. We had the ability together to figure this masculinity thing out. There's no manual on how to be a man in this world. So it's just like we just have to understand that God made us to be who we are. You know, we live in this. I wasn't born to be this world. But you know what? Hey, you're a man, you're a man. Now, I'm not sitting here telling people how to live. I'm not judging anybody for their life choices. That's between you and God. But I know I have a ministry and I have a message to put out there, and this is my message. You know, you do not have to be the finished product today or tomorrow or the next day. As long as you're in the flesh, you will never be the finished product because we need God. God is the only perfect being. We are flawed. We make mistakes. So we have to give ourselves grace and have to work on the things that we need to work on. And how we do that is realizing what you deal with mentally, internally, identifying those triggers, practicing emotional intelligence, because that's where it comes in at. We have women who when my wife came into my life and she introduced me to things that I never thought that I would ever really practice. And it's like I introduced her to things that she never thought that she even deserved, let alone would have. I came in with a spirit of leadership. I came in doing things because women, whether you know it or not, man, women love it when a man takes control. They love that. That's the biggest turn on for a woman. Having a man to do what he's supposed to do, step into his power, handle his business. It ain't even about money, really, mostly. For men and women, it's like the thing is, it's all about taking control. A woman loves a man. She will ride or die with a man that has things under control, that steps in, may not have all the answers, but he leads and he knows when to listen to his partner. Because we have to learn, a part of leadership is recognizing the strengths that you have and the strengths that your partner has. And when we realize that, we should know, hey, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, babe, we'll go with your idea. Hey, we'll go with your idea this time. My idea may not be as good as yours. You're stronger at this than I am. So, hey, why not? We're not in this thing called masculinity and femininity to compete with each other. We're meant to coexist together. We're meant to be there for each other and to love and honor and cherish each other. But so much we've done things, we've started doing things that really contradicts how God intended it to be. And it's like we do that because topic number one, of that list of things is sex. Something that was meant for married people. We do it so much, not judging. I didn't wait till marriage either, so it's not somebody trying to be holier than thou. Don't get me wrong. We all flawed, we do things. But at the end of the day, it was meant not to be done so casual. Because when you become one, intimate with each other, it was meant for your wife. Because the thing is, sex is not bad and it's not wrong to talk about. We need to educate our people about it. But really, it was meant for our people that we were meant to be with. See, so many times we create these so-called soul ties. But really, the reason why we create them is because really, sex was meant for our wives. So right now, when we do that, the reason why we have a lifelong connection with a person is because we're out here creating wives in this world and we ain't being husbands. We're making people that weren't really meant to be our person in that moment. And that's why you have turmoil. We're having kids with people that we weren't meant to be with. We're having kids with women that are not compatible with us just because they look good, or they say the right thing to us, or we say the right thing to them. And then it's just like you're creating that narrative and you're showing our kids how not to live versus how to live. And we're not teaching them the right things. So it's like they're going down that road even further. And they have so much to deal with because, like I say, with this social media era, it's so much negativity in the world. So many things that is meant to deter us from what we need to be doing. And this is just me coming with, this is the first episode. We will be talking about a lot of topics, but I want people, whoever looks at this video, if you have something that you want to talk about or you deal with that you want as a man, hey, put it in there. Women, even if you look at this video, if you see something in here that you deal with from men that you struggle with, that you need, hey, put it in there and we'll talk about it. We'll look up some statistics, some details, things of that nature, and come with some facts. And then we can come up with some ways to fix it together. Like I said, I will be having men from different walks of life. Being a man of color, mostly, people of color will be able to identify with my podcast. But at the end of the day, if you're a man and, no matter what color you are, walk of life, we all struggle with being men in this world and leadership and things like that. But I feel like it's more common in Black communities that we bash each other more than any other race. We bash each other more than any other race because we sit up there and we call each other names that ain't our names. We do this and we degrade each other. And I feel like it's a flawed behavior that we got to correct. And if we don't correct it, I feel like we'll fall. We've already fallen. Our children, they're going to prisons, filling them up. They're dying out here in these streets because of flawed behaviors that they've learned from flawed music, for people who ain't even living those lives. And the truth is, the ones who got to take back our future is us. The older generations as men, we have to take back our men and train them and teach them skills. There's a movie called The Forge. I love that movie. Every man should see it. It's a beautiful movie with a beautiful message. It's about a young man who was misguided, and an older man took him and mentored and brought him in the fold. And it was like basically he introduced him to God, and showed him who God was to him and who he was for them. And they held each other accountable, The Forge, because basically we need that in this world. We need men to hold each other accountable. We need to hold each other accountable when we're flawed. We need that brotherhood. We need that fellowship because we're being attacked in this world as men. And it's like, we're the stronger beings and the enemy knows if we fall, the family falls. We're not there to lead. Our women are left alone to do something that we're meant to do. And we abandon our responsibilities as fathers, husbands. Let's get back to being stronger husbands and fathers and understanding. Man, just because you're in a household and you might buy a woman a lot of stuff, that don't mean that you're a good husband. You have to listen to your partner. You have to listen to what she needs and do that. And women, as men, we don't have everything figured out. We don't know everything. Just because we're supposed to be stronger and we show emotion doesn't mean we're weak. It just means that we're going through things and we need you. We need your support. We need your help. We need your understanding, your compassion, because we've had to fight the world out there. We go out there and deal with all the problems of the world and come home and we just want peace. You respect us, man, you got us. That's all we require is respect. And we're big on respect than we are really love. If you respect us, we good. We're awesome. We love it. But we also, because if we get respect, we know that you're going to love us the way we deserve to be loved if you respect us. Because sometimes, love ain't enough. Sometimes you can't stand that person's guts. And sometimes it's just like, you know what? I can't stand you right now. But you know what? I'm going to regroup and come back before I say something that I can't take back. And that's all to it, We have to know as men and women that we were meant for each other. We were created to be for each other. And it's just like, the thing is, we gotta hold on to God. And that's the way we get through this thing called life, this thing called adulthood that is so hard sometimes. Well, this is your boy GQ The Truth, the Many Misconceptions of Masculinity podcast. This is episode 1 titled Purpose. What is my purpose? And I'll be coming to you with more episodes. And then the next episode I will have guests. I want to have a guest on there. And basically, I'm excited about the ministry. I think we can do great things together. I just need you to watch it. Maybe subscribe, but just watch it. And if I can help one person, then that's the battle right there. I'm just trying to plant seeds here. I'm not trying to mold you into who God meant you to be, because I'm not God. I don't know what he has for you. And hey, I don't even know what God has planned for me. But I know this is a part of it. And this is a step in the right direction. And I feel like we all need to get on board and be a part of this. So love to all people. God bless you. And just know, only way to do it is together. Let's take back our future.
Told me
Peace.
Hold it in, like a fist me strong. So I learned to bite my tongue and wear my scars like cloth. I kept my tears in drawers, never let them breathe. Smile when the room got loud and call that man to me. But the weight don't leave, it just moves around. Hit your chest at night when the house gets down. I don't need a war, I need a hand. I've been made